Well, episode 4 of Ahsoka is finally out, and the Twitter stands, can we still call them Twitter stands? Because it's called X. X stands sounds really dumb. Anyway, the Twitter stands are going crazy, filleting Dave Filoni like he's the second coming of George Lucas. Let's take a look, shall we? Did that just happen? Hashtag Ahsoka. Oh my freaking god, what the f? Hashtag Ahsoka. So at the end of the episode, Anakin shows up for 5 seconds. Oh, I probably should have said spoilers, but quite frankly, I don't care. But let's be honest, if you paid attention to anything coming out of Disney Plus, you know that this is episode 4, and we insert obligatory cameo here. Someone sedate me! Screaming, crying, throwing up, hashtag Ahsoka. The only thing that this episode managed to do was wake me up out of a coma, because something actually interesting did happen. Granted, we're 4 episodes deep and halfway through this episode, but you know, whatever. The bar is pretty low right now.
Oh my gosh, a female lead in a Star Wars movie. And then the trailer for Rogue One comes out, and it's another female lead. Oh my gosh.
Quite frankly, if Dave Filoni had 2 balls, that'd make him a 2-ball. All sarcasm aside, I have to say that this episode was halfway decent. It was definitely the best episode so far, which is setting the bar pretty fucking low right now. And the only thing worth watching takes place 18 minutes into this 38-minute episode, plus credits at the beginning and the end, and the recap at the beginning. Finally, we actually get more Ray Stevenson in this episode, because what the show has been lacking has been big dick energy. For the most part, the first 4 minutes of the episode, nothing really happens. We have Sabine and Ahsoka talking about their feelings. Presumably a space U-Haul is probably going to be called at some point. We get Morgan Elsbeth being annoying because it's Morgan Elsbeth, the girl boss.
Best get underway soon.
Is that a note of fear in your voice?
Experience.
I love the expression on Ray Stevenson's face because he's like, bitch, please. After the opening credits, we get another boring scene of Ahsoka and Sabine.
Relax. Don't worry about me.
I'm not.
Good.
Should I be?
What?
Worried.
Nope.
I'm sorry, is Sabine not participating in that conversation because it should be obvious what she's asking? That U-Haul is really taking its time. The ship gets attacked and actually nothing of consequence happens. That's worth mentioning. Ah, look, it's Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like, that's actually gonna do something. When it's a person, it makes sense, but another robot? Come on! You would think that if the bad guys were gonna send people, they would be competent and know how to take care of a Jedi and a Mandalorian, but no.
Prioritize the transmitter above everything else. I need you to contact General Syndulla as soon as you can.
Apparently, everyone keeps forgetting that the comms are being jammed, including the bad guys that are jamming the comms.
May I make one request of you both? Stay together. You always did better that way, in my opinion.
We better get moving.
Together.
Oh, very good.
I mean, come on, this really does feel like a lesbian space drama, doesn't it? And we're still not even 10 minutes into the episode. I mean, granted, we're almost there. It's like 9:54, but still 10 minutes in with credits and recap. Nothing has freaking happened. One of the bigger problems with Disney Star Wars is that it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It doesn't feel like it's in a galaxy far, far away. At times, it feels like it's current year and it doesn't take itself seriously. And here's another scene that kind of illustrates my point.
Nothing, Lieutenant.
But you can't leave without authorization.
Watch me.
There's a meeting of the general staff. What do I tell them?
You'll think of something.
Oh my god, that's so Star Wars, am I right? Oh, by the way, I completely forgot Hera was in this episode. And then you go and contrast it to a scene like this one. Ray Stevenson brings so much to the series, and he is so underutilized.
For the jump we're attempting, if your calculations are off by even a little, we will be lost to the depths of the void.
Have faith.
Faith? I lost that a long time ago.
Ray Stevenson is the best thing in this series, and his acting is top notch, and it just gets better in this episode, which quite frankly shocked me. Because this is Disney Star Wars and we can't have competent male characters, so quite frankly I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. Now, let's compare what we just saw with Shin Hati's scene.
Going somewhere?
I'm sorry, I don't care what you say. Shin Hati is not intimidating. And a lot of this just kind of comes off as goofy and silly. Now, one of the things that really kind of annoy me about this series is the fact that when it comes to these duels, They just kind of stand around and like, oh, here's my lightsaber. Let's look impressive at one another. And then after about 5 minutes of boring the shit out of the audience, let's finally get to the fighting, which is basically what's happening here. Oh, seriously.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Now, Shin Hati is supposed to be a force wielder, as we just saw in the clip. And why she isn't throwing Sabine around is anybody's guess at this point. She should be wiping the floor with Sabine. She should be dead, but again, because bonus haul, Sabine is still alive. This is the problem with current year Hollywood, because nothing of consequence is allowed to happen to female characters. Because the last time something like this happened, somebody screamed abuse. She should be able to go and just force choke a bitch and it's all over at that point, but no, she doesn't. Despite the fact that she does know how to use it, and we do see it in the episode. Yeah, see what I mean? Remember how we're supposed to be getting that big reveal of who Merrick is? Well, we get this. He was nothing more than just a self-contained fart. Really? And nobody takes advantage of the situation? Nobody goes to try and stab the other person. Oh, and just as a warning, I'm going to complain about this a lot through this episode. 18 minutes in the episode, we finally get to the part where something interesting actually finally happens. But it still drags on. That's the sad part. Why does everybody take their cloaks off when they get ready to go and fight? I mean, nobody did this in any of the other movies or shows. And now Ahsoka goes and takes her cloak off too. You know, for reasons.
It is an unfortunate evil, but speaks to a greater truth. One must destroy in order to create.
Now that feels a bit on the nose when it comes to current year in entertainment, like how Disney went and destroyed Star Wars to create crap. We've seen this all before in Disney Star Wars. Let the past die. Kill it if you have to, because it doesn't matter. We have to destroy in order to create. No, the only reason why they're destroying anything is because it was created by better men before them.
How inevitable.
Oh, and by the way, I'm playing this at ×2 speed, so imagine if I just played at normal speed, you can see just how much this drags on. So even sped up, this is 26 seconds long, which means that this entire standoff is roughly about a minute. At this point, I'm really just trying to fill the dead air, that way you're not getting bored as you're watching the scene. Imagine how I actually felt watching it in real time.
I am enjoying this scene.
Get on with it!
Finally, Sabine actually does something smart here. And quite frankly, I thought she was going to force push her or something like that. Which is not the case.
You have no power.
Not in the slightest. As much as that was a pretty good fake out, Shin Hati still would have basically trounced the crap out of her. I mean, come on. She actually has the force at her disposal. Come on.
Your legacy, like your master's, is one of death and destruction.
Dude's got some good f***ing lines in this episode. At this point, I was like, okay, she finally girl bossed her way out of the situation, but then this happens. And finally, we get something that the show has been massively lacking. Tension.
That was unwise. Get them back!
And he just dominates her.
It didn't need to come to this, but you know no other way.
Stop!
And finally, Sabine shows up and they're distracted yet again. Nobody dies. Now this keeps happening throughout the entire episode. Something distracts them. They all stop and take a look and nobody takes advantage of the situation. One of them should be dead right now, but no, because bad storytelling, but whatever. Like I said, we finally get a bit of tension here and it is actually pretty well done. And here we are, 4 episodes deep, 24 minutes into the 4th episode, and something finally freaking happens that's interesting in this show.
Step away from her!
The only thing I feel that really kind of undermines the whole situation is that Ahsoka doesn't lose an arm. Yes, I probably would have complained about it being a callback to Empire, but quite frankly, a lot of people have lost limbs in Star Wars, so I'm not going to complain about it too hard. But it would have added something that this show needs, that there's actual real danger involved here. But again, bonus haul, so that's not gonna happen. But this next part with Ray Stevenson and Sabine, oh my god. Probably some of the best Disney Star Wars I've seen since never.
You should do as your master says. Destroy it. She would have done it.
Stay back!
I know you feel that Ezra Bridger is the only family you have left. I know that's what's holding you back. Your family died on Mandalore.
Ray Stevenson brings a level of gravitas to this series that has been lacking for the first 3 episodes.
Because your master didn't trust you. You and I share a common goal. To make this journey. Come with me. Willingly. It's the only way. Do it for Ezra.
It makes sense for the scene to take its time and let it breathe as Sabine contemplates whether to hand the orb over to Balin's skull or not. And it's actually pretty damn, I can't say good, because this is Disney Star Wars. And no, this does not make up for the copious amounts of garbage we've been getting over the years. But I have to say is, this scene actually is good though. Seriously, why didn't she do this in the frickin' forest? It would have been all over.
I gave her my word, and unlike her former master, I shall keep mine.
Ouch, that's a deep cut. My god, can you imagine if they just did a series based around Ray Stevenson's character? I know they can't because, you know, he's gone. May he rest in peace. But holy shit, if they actually got competent writers and had him as the lead, that would have been fucking gold. And if you haven't seen the Rome miniseries that Ray Stevenson was in, I highly recommend it because it is so good. Now, remember how I said the show still makes bad decisions? Well, here's one of them.
Yes.
Now, back in episode 3, we found out that bad guys were jamming the comms, but apparently they decided to stop doing that, you know, because reasons. After Balin's skull destroys the map, he takes Sabine to the space ring where they go and jump into hyperspace, plowing through some ships, which I quite frankly have an issue with. Now, that would not have happened. There's this concept called the mass shadow, which is the whole thing like if you're in hyperspace and there's a planet, you can't go through things in hyperspace. This was pretty much set up for us in the original Star Wars movie. It's the reason why Han said you have to go and calculate these coordinates, because if you don't, you will end up in an asteroid field. Because if you encounter a mass shadow, it causes you to drop out of hyperspace, and you're most likely royally screwed. Now, all this was destroyed with The Last Jedi. Now, after being tossed off the cliff, Ahsoka should be dead, but we find out that she's actually in the space between spaces. I mean, the world between worlds.
I didn't expect to see you so soon.
Anakin.
Is it just me, or does Hayden Christensen look kind of weird? I don't know if they went and de-aged him or if it's just his hair, but something looks off. So here we are, 4 episodes deep, and for the most part, nothing has happened up to this point. Kind of. The problem is that the first episode should have been the setup, and what happened in episode 3 and 4 should have happened in episode 2. Overall, the pacing of the show is a problem, just like the pauses between dialogue, between characters. Now, it's one thing when we have a character who is contemplating, like with the scene that we saw with Sabine and Balin, that actually does make sense. But this is literally every single scene in this show so far. And mind you, we are at the halfway point of this series. Something finally happens, and it's oh so brief. In reality, the only thing worth watching is the last 10 minutes of the episode. Well, technically 14 if I want to include the credits, but if I shave that off, it's only 10 minutes that's worth watching. And this has always been a problem with the D+ shows, is the fact that how long an episode is kind of arbitrary. If you actually had a 50 or 60 minute show, you could get a lot done in one episode. But the issue is that we typically end up with a lot of filler. Why have filler in an 8-episode series? Now, when you have 24 episodes, I understand why you do stuff like that, why you have a bottle episode, like what we see in Star Trek. But this is not television. This is streaming, and it's wildly inconsistent. And the problem is, even with the hour-long episode, you could probably edit it down to being 15 minutes. Like I previously said, this is the best episode so far, but the bar is pretty low. It's not as retarded as episode 3, but at the same time, it's not good. it's okay. And at this point, I'm not sure what they're planning on doing. I honestly thought it was going to be to the last episode when they finally got to whoever Thrawn and Ezra are supposed to be. But, you know, whatever. I'm sure the next 3 episodes are probably just going to be filler to the final one. But I guess we shall see. Anyway, that's it for my review. Make sure to hit that thumbs up on the way out and check out my episode 3 review right there. Spoilers, I hated it. Anyway, folks, I'll catch you next time.